Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I am your host, Sarah Albritton, and I'm here with my guest, Fumi Abe.
Hello. Thank you for having me on this bed.
How'd you sleep last night, Fumi?
So good. I took a edible. That's my move these days.
Oh, take an edible. What's your choice?
What kind of weed?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just get free edibles whenever I do like a weed-related comedy show, and I just kind of ration that.
Okay.
You know, across certain months. So yeah, I don't really have a type or a flavor that I like. I don't really get high to get high. I just do it to fall asleep.
Gotcha. You're just like, all right, any free weed you get, you're going to just do it right before you sleep.
Yeah, it's great. You start thinking of cool things and then you fall asleep.
Nice.
That's great.
Now, do you have better dreams when you take edibles?
I don't think so. I actually think I heard that you sleep not as well if you're like high or drunk. But it feels like you're having a deeper sleep.
I think that they have actually done different things with CBD and certain weed brands that that they specifically make it for sleep.
For sleeping?
But aside from that, like if you're just regularly been drinking, of course you're going to have awful sleep.
Right. Even though like, you fall asleep faster, so it feels nice, but apparently like your sleep is not as deep or something like that.
Yeah, like passing out sleep is definitely not the highest quality sleep you can get.
Yeah. But it's like that, I'm all about like I love falling asleep to like watching TV, even though it's not good for you,
For me, when I do that, all the dialogue within the television finds its way into my dreams without making any sense at all.
You dream a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't dream that often.
Well, that's part of the narcolepsy, I guess, straight to REM.
You have narcolepsy?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
that.
that.
That's the theme of this podcast.
Okay.
Hence the Sleeping with Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the Edinburgh show was about. But yeah, it's for that, with narcolepsy, you kind of go almost straight to REM and you don't get quality sleep. But I take some medicine at night that tricks my brain into thinking I get the right kind of sleep.
I feel like if I'm dreaming too much, I feel like I'm not really resting because my brain's like working.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But it is kind of cool when I've taken naps that are less than 5 minutes and have dreams that last for like hours, and that's trippy.
Wow.
I only wish I could like get things done. It's like, okay, if I fall asleep for 2 minutes, what if I could just do all this work and write all these the things I need to write out?
Yeah. Do you write down your dreams?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. The longer you wait, I feel like, is the more likely you'll forget the dream.
Yes, but I found that every time I have a crazy dream and I try to explain it to my girlfriend, I sound insane. It made so much sense in your head, but when it comes out of your mouth, it's like, none of this makes sense.
And you're like half awake and you're like, well, we were at our house, but it wasn't our house. It was
yeah.
In my head, it was the house I grew up in, but it's actually a completely different layout. And let me explain this layout.
Yes.
And then we were walking down the hallway and suddenly it became a jungle. And then there was a cat chasing us.
Yeah, I always give up on it halfway, like giving up on a bit, kind of, because I can tell she's not into it. I'm like, all right, never mind.
She's like, I'm tired.
Yeah. I heard there's like a website where you can like log your dreams and stuff, though.
Oh.
Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
There's like a website where people just log their dreams every day, and you can like read other people's dreams.
I bet some people like go through and they'll like analyze them and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what it's for. Yeah.
I feel like you can definitely see where it's going. I feel like you have a lot more stress dreams or whatever when you're going through stress.
Yeah.
I think that always shows its face, and I always find it weird when it's somebody I haven't talked to in like 10 years that shows up in a dream.
Yeah. Man, you dream a lot.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of my dreams.
I mean, I remember them, but I remember it's just a lot of them are very weird like that, like literally.
And people are showing up in your dreams.
Yeah, sometimes.
Man, that like rarely happens to me. It's always like a vague feeling and like people I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe people I've met or seen on the street, but like very rarely do my friends visit me in my dreams. It's kind of sad, actually.
Well, I mean, maybe that means you don't have any issues with them. That they're
I
actually
think
pretty
maybe
chill.
it
There's
means
like
you don't
no
have any
drama.
friends. Yeah.
That would have been me. Yeah, maybe you don't have any friends. Welcome to my podcast.
Yeah, it's very possible.
So do you live with your partner?
I do,
Yeah.
yes. We lived together for a long time in New York, and then when I moved to LA, we did long distance for 1 year, and then she moved in with me last summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Long distance, that's the tough thing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we that was our second time doing long distance, and we had a little bit more we were older, we had a little bit more money, so we would visit each other once a month.
Then that's not.
It wasn't. You have to have a plan. I think if you don't have a plan, it falls apart. Like you have to make plans to see each other and like check in and all this stuff. Yeah.
Well, for me, this summer was the longest time I had gone. Like, it was only like, because he visited, it was only like 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
But I realized, I was busy. I didn't even have time to think about,
Yeah.
So when you're busy and you're performing every day, you're doing stuff, it's
of course,
a lot easier.
and like a month is not. I don't know if I'd call that long distance. That's just more like an extended work trip. But
yes, it was an extended.
A month
work
is
trip.
actually kind of nice if you've been together for a long time. Just a nice little break.
Oh, just like all right, I love you, but I've been around you like a long time.
Well, it makes you want to like see each other more and stuff. But like a year is tough if you want to like sustain a relationship.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And how do you like New York versus LA? What was your?
I hated LA when I first moved here. I was severely depressed. I also didn't have a car. That may be why.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Where did you live in LA without the car?
I lived in West Hollywood.
Okay, so at least you lived in like the walkable part.
I would
okay.
I would take a bird scooter to like Trader Joe's and stuff. Or I would do like the Amazon Whole Foods delivery thing sometimes.
Yeah.
But I lived in West Hollywood because my work was in West Hollywood for a little bit. So I would like work. I'd walk to work. So like I didn't really need a car. But
that's CVS.
What?
You walked to like the CVS by the Fairfax, or is that not?
The CVS. Oh, CBS. Yes.
Yeah,
Television
CVS.
City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were making a joke about how I work at a pharmacy or something.
No, no. I know you wrote for Late Show.
Yes. So that was there, and I just feel like New York and LA have this like weird one-sided rivalry where like no one in LA ever thinks or talks about New York, but everybody in New York like shits on LA constantly. So I feel like people move here with like some sort of like cocky attitude. And I definitely had that. Like, I was just such a hater when I first moved here. I was like, I was like, this is like, LA is like the fucking country. Like, there's nothing here. Like, it's the suburbs. Like, I was like really hating on it. But I would say like after a year and a half, I kind of like grew into it, you know?
I think Chicago had a similar thing. Chicago was definitely like, oh, everyone in LA is like so shallow or whatever. I'm like, I feel like the people that are from LA, yeah, they've got different, mentality in terms of like body image and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the friends I have out here are from the Midwest and the East Coast and like pretty friendly. Now, people might be friendly to you because you might be famous tomorrow, but like,
right.
I feel like there's that mentality.
Yeah, there's like, it's weird because the entertainment industry is so powerful here. No matter, like, you could be working in marketing, but 10% of their brain power is going to like, oh, maybe I can go viral, and so that's everywhere.
And even getting a regular job here, even if you are like applying for marketing, if you have over a certain number of followers, it's
helps.
like you're more appealing. You're
like,
you're
God,
gonna get this.
I didn't know that. That's disgusting. Oh my God.
No, probably not for like accounting or banking or any of that bullshit. But
yeah. I just think there's like, you got to find your people. I'm sure there's people like that in New York who are like kind of obsessed with followers and stuff like that. But in LA, it just seems more out there. So like, that was like depressing me for a little bit. But yeah, I think I'm just like, I spent my entire 20s in New York, and so it's nice. Like I really like when I first moved here, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of like when I was in high school, like living in Ohio, like suburbs. I got a car, that you drive to your friends' houses and stuff. So yeah. The LA's the suburbs, it's a good suburb.
LA's a good suburb.
It's a good suburb. That's the way. I mean, I pitch it to my friends as like it's a really, really cool suburb. That's still how I see it.
But like, what I like is the constant sunshine. I feel like that feels nice. I feel like that makes you like a bit less jaded, versus like Chicago. It's like through the winter months, you're just like everyone gets like grouchy. And
yeah. People would always be like, "I love season." I'm like, I don't think I love seasons. I don't at all. Yeah.
The seasons. I mean, I like summer and fall, and I think we get those.
Yeah. I mean, it gets cold here, but like in the 50s. You never need a scarf here. You don't need like a real winter jacket either, which is kind of fun.
I know, but my body's adapted so much that like anything like below like 55, I'm like, where's my coat? Like,
yeah. I feel like people here don't even know what like Uniqlo Heat Tech is. Uniqlo Heat Tech is like, that's like our Bible in New York.
What?
Uniqlo Heat Tech, bro. Everybody's got it.
Oh, is it kind of like
It's like Under Armour.
Because there's like this down feather jacket that's like, oh, I forget what it was called, but all the door people in Chicago would always wear those.
It's probably, I mean, yeah, there's like, it's like a certain style of clothing you can get at Uniqlo, but their main thing is that they're like these Under Armour things, and every New Yorker wears it in the winter. Like they'll wear that and then jeans and then this and then like a Canada Goose jacket or something like that because it's like 25 degrees.
Oh, there was a certain temperature level in Chicago where it'd be like, all right, today is a 2 pants level day,
Chicago is stupid. It's stupid cold. It's just like, I don't even know what they're doing there.
Yeah, it's insane, but it is a great city. It's a great city to live in. But again,
I never lived there. I don't know.
now it's I've been so used to like the warm weather. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, even Chicago feels like a city. I just think like when I moved here, I just think people who come from like train cities come here and they're just like,
Yeah.
there's like a hating energy,
Yeah.
you know, because everybody's happy here. Yeah, that's really what it is.
I think people are happier
And
here.
yeah, you're just like, why? Why aren't you upset or something? You know?
Yeah, it's interesting moving from different places and figuring that out. But like I liked LA a lot more than I think I thought of. Like 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have liked. Like I thought I would never move to LA. Thought it'd be like New York.
Yes.
But when it came time to move from Chicago, I felt like I wanted a different experience. I was like, LA feels different.
Yeah, I don't know how old you were when you moved here, but I really think it's like a phase. Which phase of your life are you in? You know, I don't think I would have liked LA in my 20s. Because I was so restless. I just always wanted to be like moving, making moves and stuff. And like New York feeds that.
It was late 20s. So it was like,
Yeah.
and I lived a lot. I was very single in Chicago for a long time. So I feel like that was like.
Oh, I mean, I heard being single in LA sucks. I don't even know how you did that. I don't know how you found your partner.
It was a pandemic and he was already a friend.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Because at least dating in New York is like kind of fun. It was from my experience. There's a lot of people and there's a lot of interesting people not trying to make it, which is nice.
Yeah, in LA, dating is not easy. And I mean, like I was able to date and that was fine, you know, but it was nobody that I was like excited about or wanted to be committed for a while. I was like, oh, like I'm afraid of commitment. And really it was like, oh, I'm dating people that aren't worth me to commit to.
Oh, yeah. I also feel like there's just so many people. I just met a lot of people in LA who were like, they just use the word like content and like the industry too many times. And I'm like, what do you do again? Like, you're like nobody. You're not even doing it. You know what I mean? There's just like too many people who are like, maybe I'm just hating.
No,
but I just really made me cringe to hear those two words over and over again. And I'm like, but you're just like a hot girl doing nothing. Like you just, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like New York is more about like the work and LA is more about the look and the vibe. And I think you need both. Yeah. But like I really also I think has to do with me being Japanese, but I really appreciate like people who put in the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know that documentary Jiro Dreams of Sushi?
Yeah.
You seen that? Like that guy just makes eggs for 30 years and then on his 31st year the chef is like, you can now make rice. Like that that's like that New York, that's the New York way, you know? It's like we're just all about the craft and stuff. And I think here it's very like vibey. And that like threw me off. Not even like in the context of comedy, but just like in dating or friendships. It would just like turn me off when people talk like that. Yeah,
it was really weird to like get used to that. And I've got so many friends that are like really good about posting reels and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that is something I should improve on.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Sometimes you want to just like live and enjoy life in the moment. Like I have all this stuff I need to post from my trip that I haven't yet, but I was just like enjoying shit.
Yeah, that's okay too.
Yeah.
I think that's like the most obvious and easiest way to like get followers today, but like who knows what it will be like in 3 years, you know what I mean?
I mean everything changes and
everything
like,
changes.
Who's gonna like buy out whatever thing?
Yeah, I mean when I started comedy, like we didn't have TikTok and Instagram. There was zero chance that like an open micer could get a following like the way it does now, you know? You see people who doing like Kill Tony who are like kind of new open micers like going viral and stuff, and like that clip is funny, but it's like there's just no way like somebody 3 years in would be getting this kind of attention when I was starting comedy in 2014. It's just zero chance. I mean,
I did Kill Tony when I was like 2 years in.
Yeah.
And like I had a really good set, but they did like
they're not posting. They're not posting anything. Yeah.
You know, and then I did it a second time in Nashville because I was in town for a festival and they did it there, and Ralphie May was the judge for that. And
is that the guy who died?
Yeah, he passed away.
Shit.
Yeah. But before that, I was at LA. I ran into his manager that remembered me from the Kill Tony set. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna be in Chicago in like December or something. Hit us up." And I was like, "Okay, whatever."
Yeah.
But I put it in my calendar as a reminder, and I hit him up like a month before I asked him to be on the podcast, and they had me open for him a couple times.
Oh, amazing!
But like that's like I think like that was the best result you could get out of Kill Tony, and I was like, I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
Because like I got pretty good out of it, but. So it could still do stuff for you, but it just happened to be like a right place, right time. It had nothing to do with the social media.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My whole outlook is like, just take advantage of it while you can, because again, like 3 years from now, like it's very possible that like no one looks at reels anymore. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I even noticed that like for a while, like if you posted a picture, it like would get like 3 likes. Yeah. But now pictures are back. I think pictures are back.
Pictures
dude.
are back.
Pictures
All
are
right.
back, dude.
Let's do some more pics.
Because I swear to God, like no one was posting pictures because he would get like no likes, and I'm not even talking about for comedians, just like anybody, because they're really trying to push video. But I think now like reels got too like saturated or whatever, so now it's like people are posting like cool pictures again.
The thing is, it's always the algorithm, and it's like I don't know how many. Like, we have so many more movies warning us about AI and algorithms and stuff, but like we are also so relying on algorithms for so much of our day-to-day life that it is like terrifying.
Oh yeah.
I'm thankfully, if this deal goes through, WGA, we'll come back and there'll be some good protections against AI.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what they are. We got that email yesterday saying like, oh, these like we made some great strides and all this stuff, but
I think they said the word excellent. Like it was like an excellent deal. It was a high. Yes. It was a pretty. I was like,
the language is very positive.
I was like, they're setting the bar pretty high. They better get like everything they wanted except for maybe one thing.
It sounded like they did, but yeah, I'm interested to know like what the AI details are. I mean, I don't know. I use AI a lot when I write and stuff, but I kind of use it as like a Google. Yeah. Or like, hey, what is like, just like if I need to like, if I'm writing a joke or an idea or something, I'm like, wait, what is that Drake song that goes like this? I'll just like write it down. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like use it as because if you use it creatively, it's still not very good.
Yeah, you can't. It can't. I test it. like every month. I'll be like, all right, like write me a dialogue scene that's a comedy, and it doesn't.
No, it's awful.
Yeah, it doesn't know how to do comedy.
Yeah,
it can do decent like descriptive writing, like for an action film.
Yeah.
In a script, but it cannot do dialogue worth shit.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's one of those things where like 10 years from now, like it's gonna get smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not that scared, to be honest with you. I just feel like if AI gets that good where it can be funnier than somebody who's done comedy for like 7 to 10 years, if we get to that level, then I think it's fair to assume that AI is also capable of like feeling other emotions and like it's like sentient almost, right? And then to me that's like a different problem. It's not just about comedy. Now it's about like, is it like a slave now because it works for Netflix? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
is it like depressed? Because I feel like everyone starts comedy either to like, get people to date or sleep with, or because they're sad about something.
It's gonna try to fuck girls after shows.
It's like one of the it's like one of those things. So it's like, oh, does the robot feel depression and that's why he feels the need to do stand-up comedy? Like,
right.
What is the
like? I think if it really gets to a level where it's like, oh, we don't need any writers anymore because we got these machines writing stories, and I'm like, okay, well then there's like a whole another set of problems we got to deal with that's not creative related. You know, it's like it can feel things. It has real memories. It has emotions.
So you
like,
can't unplug it, because
yeah.
then
So
it's
like forget Netflix. It's about like it's like we just created our like real artificial intelligence, and we have to figure out how to treat it right.
Yeah.
And we have to apply like labor laws and stuff like that. That's where my mind goes, at least.
That's funny. That reminds me. BJ Novak has a book of short stories, and one of the short stories is about a guy who wanted to return a sex robot because the robot ended up developing feelings for him.
That's so funny.
And it's just such a funny concept. He's actually a really great writer. His short stories were really, interesting, and some are really short and that was a longer one, but that was just like the idea that they're like, why do you want to return this robot? Oh, the first robot that ever feels love and you want to return it. And it's like, it's like, yeah, but I bought it to be a sex robot, so you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very true thing that will happen in the future. I think that's the thing with like sex toys. I think we don't need to I think we got it. I think the vibrator and the fleshlight, we got it, dude. Like it's
enough.
We don't need it. We don't need any more because it is gonna like have emotions, and then like I think the whole point is like if you're using it to get off, you want to treat it like sort of like a transactional thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't need it to like get creative with this dirty talk or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Oh gosh, yeah, that would be interesting if you're like, talk to me in a French accent, or talk to me.
Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that.
I spent 24 hours at Amsterdam on my trip, and I went into like a sex store thinking, oh, there'd be a lot of different things that I hadn't seen before, and it's like, no, that's pretty much the same stuff,
Yeah.
But they did say that a bunch of people from OnlyFans just cleared out some of their bigger things.
What do you mean by that? Like they came in and bought it?
Yeah, I wanted to show my friend that I went with, my girlfriend and I have a boyfriend, but like my friend, that's a girl. Also, we went to Amsterdam together, and I wanted to show her what a Sibian looked like, which is, you know.
That's been around for a minute.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
But like you know, and she knew what it was. But I went to specifically ask for it. He's like, oh, these OnlyFans girls were here for an hour ago and they just bought it.
That's so crazy. Is that because the 90s are back? Because I used to watch that shit on Howard Stern when I was like a boy. And I was like fascinated by it. Because you remember that? They used to have porn stars use Sibian on the E channel at night.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. It was crazy. I'd sleep over at my boy Kevin's house and we'd like watch it and get hard. We're like 13 years old. I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? They would just show this on television.
This is the thing that I'm also confused about. Like being like a 13 or 14-year-old boy. Like if you're hanging out, I've heard like that people would hang out and they'd watch porn together, but you wouldn't do it. You just like.
Well, this is before high school. I think when you're like, when you're like 12 to 14, there's this weird time in your life where you're like horny and you need to talk to someone else about it, but you don't feel, but you're still young enough that you don't feel insecure about experiencing this like erotic thing with another man. Because in high school you're like, that's good, you know what I mean? But it's before that. It's before that. It's this innocent time where like guys could just like have boners together and just like, it's kind of like smoking a cigar with your boy, but you're 14. You know what I mean? That's like, you're just like chilling.
And you don't say anything about it. You just both know that you both have boners.
Yes, you just like watch it and you like appreciate it together and you're like, man, that's fucking crazy, dude. And then you're just like hard. And then you like go to bed. You literally go to bed and then the next morning like your friend's mom makes you breakfast and then your mom picks you up.
And then washes the sheets that are clearly full of fluid.
Well, we're not like we were not whacking it. You know what I'm saying?
No, but I thought if you didn't at a certain age, doesn't it just happen anyways? Isn't that?
I mean, you could make an argument about pre-cum. I suppose that's we could go there.
But wait,
you know.
But you guys would just sit with boners and just not.
It's the same thing as like going to the strip club with your boys as like a 30-year-old man. It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's that, but like no money involved. And it's like 2 a.m. and you're watching Showtime or something in 2005.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't think, especially between 12 and 14, I think girls are very insecure about things. So it's like, I'm not going to tell anyone that I'm like turned on right now. I don't even know what that is. Oh, it's, I'm wet. I don't know what that means. You know?
I think guys thought it was cool. We're like, dude, this is crazy. Like,
look, this thing I've had my entire life. Now it does tricks.
Yes, I think it truly, I think it's more of like, isn't this sweet? Like, it feels like we just got our first car almost. I think we're not like showing each other, but there's like this innocent period that only lasts like 18 months in a boy's
very
life.
specific.
It's like because it's like right before you like, you start like feeling self-conscious and getting acne and you like girls like you. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like of course you like girls in middle school, but it was just sort of like it's innocent. I miss that time, man.
Yeah.
It's when it's like 18 months. Men are not toxic. We're not toxic and we're allowed to have boners with our guy friends, and it's very like Roman bath vibes. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. The bath thing. Yeah. I wonder why that's maybe why Big Mouth did so well, because it's very relatable with that, because it deals with a lot of those awkward situations.
Oh yeah. I remember like my friend Nick would like whenever like I'd be at his house playing video games and then like his dad would leave and he would show me his dad's Playboy collection in the attic. But so this is like 2004. Okay. But he showed me magazines from like 1991, like before I was born and shit. And we would just like read it together in his living room. That's crazy. And we're like, we just show each other. That was it. Innocent time. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I had found my uncles at one point, not expecting to, but like I definitely looked at them. I thought.
How did you feel when you like found out that your uncle was watching or looking at that kind of stuff?
Oh, I was like, well, I kind of was just like, I've heard of Playboy. This is what it looks like. Yeah. Oh, cool.
It's not because I think Playboy is still like tasteful.
Classy. Yeah, it's
like,
classy. It's
beautiful
not,
women who are naked. It's not like they're not. There's no like penetration. So it's like even as a little girl.
Some of the magazines had penetration.
Not Playboy, but like the more hardcore ones had, which
weird.
My friend's dad did not have. But like, because Playboy is still like a regular magazine.
I'm just trying to imagine having to do that with analog, like not digital, like having to be just like pictures? The right angle. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean.
That must have been just be like, that must have been like a task.
Or maybe just like a thumbnail situation, you know what I mean? Like, when you go to Pornhub and there's like a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just take a screenshot from maybe a film.
Maybe that's what they did.
Talk to a film major about that, I'm not really sure.
But like in the 90s, having to do that, like I feel like someone also had to have like a camera.
Yeah. They took stills.
Yeah.
They took stills.
I feel like back then there'd be a lot more people in like the in the porn room than you need nowadays.
That is funny to be like, hold it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Be like, hold that angle right there.
Yeah,
I just need to get the penetration just like that.
Right.
The lighting is perfect. Do not move.
Right. Because I think in today's world, you just take a frame from when you're editing in Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
You just take frame, but back then you had to have a separate photographer. That's kind of funny. That's a weird job.
That's immediately what I think of is like the weird jobs people had to do.
Yeah. Man, love that.
But yeah, that's I don't know how we got all the way here, but it was funny.
I forgot either. I don't want to go back.
Yeah. So you said you've been doing comedy for like what? 10
Gosh, it'll be 10 years, January of 2024. So almost.
Oh, that's
a couple months away. From
same for me. Yeah.
Crazy, man. It's been so long.
Yeah.
It really flew by.
And what made you do it? What was the starting?
I think it was a combination of like a quarter life crisis and also like I've always like done like creative things, but it was really important that like I had a job. Like I never had the confidence to go full out art stuff because like I did music for a long time. I was in a band in college and high school, and then like
What'd you play?
I played a lot. I played guitar mainly, and I like sang backup. But like I also played drums and like trumpet and piano and all this shit. I loved it. It was like my mom's like a piano teacher. Like
okay. It was so like, you start because when you learn piano, it's a lot easier to learn the other.
But that wasn't my first instrument. But I refused to do it because my mom like was forcing it on me, and I was like, no way. But I loved performing music. That was like a huge part of my life. It was like my entire identity forever. And then like when I graduated college, I kind of stopped playing because I wasn't in a band anymore. And then I just became like a hobby guitar player. And then I don't know. I thought about like I was very unhappy, not unhappy, but I was just like working in a cubicle at this like advertising agency, and I was like 24, and I was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do this forever, you know.
Yeah.
Even though I'd only been in the professional world for like a year and a half, I was like, I think I'm good.
Is that 18 months?
Yeah, it's like 18 months, and then I was at a heavy metal bar in the Lower East Side called Three of Cups, which is now a Emmy Square Pizza, unfortunately. But I was at this heavy metal bar with my friend Katie and Noah, and we were catching up. And that night, like it was like open mic night, and an open mic started happening around us. And it like ruined our evening because it was so bad. It was so racist, so misogynistic. Like it was just so people weren't funny. And by that time, I'd already been like keeping like funny ideas in my phone, like on my notepad. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. Like nobody told me that you could just do stand up. I just really thought I used to watch Chappelle specials in like middle school, and I thought he like majored in comedy or something. That was like how narrow my... Which
now there is a major in comedy.
Yeah, like Emerson and stuff. Like I thought like he studied theater in college or whatever. I just thought that's how people did it because I grew up in a community where like no one did cool stuff like that. You know, no one was a TV writer. I grew up in Ohio, so like all my friends' parents were like working at banks or like real estate or like just kind of regular boring jobs. You know, my dad was an engineer, so we had no ties to the entertainment industry. So that was the first time seeing the open mic. I was like, oh, anyone can just go and do it. And then so I watched the whole thing, and then I was like, I could do this, and I just wrote like a 5-minute thing and I went back the next week, and I just never stopped. Yeah. But it was just sort of like I didn't start comedy being like I want to be the next Dave Chappelle or Louis C.K. That's not how I started. I was looking for like an outlet, and I did it, and I was just really into it, and I just kept going without really thinking about the future. And it wasn't until like 3-4 years in where I was like, okay, what am I doing with my life? Like, am I gonna take advertising seriously, or am I just gonna put that in the back burner and try to do comedy? Like, so for 3-4 years, I was just blindly doing it. I did not give a shit about if I was getting booked or whatever. Like, it wasn't really about like building a career, you know, which is very different now. I think a lot of newer comedians, because of TikTok and stuff, they're much more strategic. But for me, it was just like a more authentic, like raw attraction to the art, and I just liked it. So I didn't really care. I truly did not think about the future for like 3-4 years.
But that's great, because then your comedy was really in the moment and kind of true to yourself without overthinking it.
Yeah, I mean, I was also very bad at it for a long time.
Well, yeah, I think everyone, when they first start, you know, take a while to get their voice, you know. Yeah,
sure. But it is weird because I'm almost 10 years in, and I was sometimes like, you know, I just did like JFL, and like I just met somebody who's been doing it like 4 years, and he was like amazing. And I was like, he's like 23 or something. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're so good. He had his voice together, you know.
But when did he start?
I think like 2019 or something. He's been doing it 4 years or whatever. He's very, very, but like there's always people
always
like,
some people like that.
who get it 3-4 years. I remember like Jabuki was like that.
I was gonna say Jabuki because he was in Chicago before
Mm-hmm.
he moved that summer. He was, I think he had done I ran a variety show in Chicago for a while, and he was like doing our show or something. He was like helping edit like a reel of our show, and he left for the summer, and he just never came back. From New York. He left because he just had a good feeling. And
Yeah, I heard he wasn't even like that popular in Chicago, but when he came to New York, like everything just started happening for him, you know?
Well, he was starting stuff out, and he was out a bunch, and he was doing stuff, but he was still in school. I'm not sure if he could. I think he was just about getting ready to go to the bars. He was just starting.
Oh, wow.
Because they're strict in Chicago. You had to be 21 to go.
Yeah.
So there were some people that were performing before they were old enough, or they'd basically be sometimes certain bars would let people in just to do their set and then like make them leave. So it's
That's
like,
nice.
oh, if you're 18 or 19, you can come in, do your set, then you have to leave immediately afterwards.
Right. Oh, that's crazy.
And I was always jealous of the people that like started super, like Aaron Branch started that way. You know, like we were talking, I had him on the podcast and we were talking about that. It's like, it's so crazy. I mean, like I love that I've gotten to see people from when they were just like 18, but when you're, you know, when you're like 23 or 24 and you see somebody that's like 18, like to them they're a kid to you,
Right,
you know?
right.
And when you get older, the age doesn't matter as much. But.
Yeah, I mean, I started when I was 24, and I felt like a young person for like a while, but I just had nothing to say until like 3 years ago. So like, I think it's fine. I just think like, I mean, the person I'm talking about, his name is Nico Carney, and he's like a trans person. And I think he just has lived a life that's worth talking about. And it's very interesting to hear him talk. You know, it's not just that he's an amazing writer. It's just like, I'm captivated by his performance. And I couldn't do that when I was 23 because I really just had nothing to say. It's the people who are young and get a lot of stuff. It's not just because they're young. It's because they like, a lot of times they live like a crazy life.
Yeah.
And they have an interesting point of view in the world. And I think it takes a lot of people like a long time to get that. I was talking to Leslie Liao, and she started comedy when she was 29, and she told me she waited because she wanted to know who she was before she started. Oh. So she's much older. She's like 36 or 7 now or something. She's great, but she like waited on purpose to start until she was in her late 20s because she wanted to know who she was. And I started before I knew who I was. And so like I was learning how to write jokes, but I don't necessarily think anything I was saying had any weight or gravity to it.
I think I felt lost. I had gone through a breakup with someone I was with through college, and like it's a long relationship, and I had to do an improv and sketch, and I wanted to just perform every night and not do that. So, but I kind of had felt like that was like my impetus to like start, you know, to do something different. Because I thought I wouldn't like it, and I liked it a lot more than I thought.
Sure.
But mine was more about that. But I see what you're saying, because I know people that have started like later, like in their 30s, and like within the first 4 or 5 years, like you know, Thelonious Monk or you know Pink Fox, or you know people that have really grown really quickly because they already lived life when they started. Yeah.
They already know who they are and their sense of humor. Like that's half the game.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. What was the first time your parents saw you perform?
They've never seen me perform.
What?
Yeah. They don't live in America. They live in Mexico. It's super random.
Oh.
They've never seen me perform, but they did watch my Colbert set.
Okay.
Where I talk about like dick pics and sexting for like 8 minutes. I don't even think they're understanding what I'm saying, but my sister told me that they did watch that on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents are like pretty chill. I know like the stereotype with Asian parents is that they always want you to be doctors or whatever, but like my parents were not like that. I don't know if it's because they're Japanese or like my mom is like comes from a blue collar family. My dad's not like that. He went to like a good college and became an engineering stuff, but like they've always been like very hands off with me. I think it's because they just know that if they like pry too much, I get like very standoffish and I ignore them. Like I was a bad kid. Like I don't listen to my parents at all. But that said, like I don't take advantage of them. You know what I mean? Like I would go to parties and do drugs, but I didn't get in trouble. You know what I mean?
You never got caught.
I wasn't like selling it. I wasn't like I wasn't like overreaching, you know. And so yeah, I don't know. They've been like they know that I do comedy, but it's weird. They're not really like interested in it, I guess, you know. Like I had dinner with my dad like a couple years ago, and he was asking me like, oh, if I had an interest in going to grad school, and I was like, no, I like write for TV now. Like this is my job. He like doesn't, but he doesn't know what that means really. You know, we don't have anyone in our family who does that. So yeah, it's interesting. They don't really ask me about it as much. Yeah.
That's interesting. It's just like, oh, he's fine. He doesn't bother us for, anything.
Yeah, I don't ask them for money or anything, so they don't really... It's not that they don't care. I just think they don't really understand, or they're just kind of letting me do my thing, which is like cool and sad at the same time, I guess. You know, it'd be nice if they took a little more interest, but maybe that's why I do comedy. I'm not really sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, in Japan, is stand-up comedy a big thing, or?
There's definitely comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely comedy. But, Japan is like, everything is so institutionalized. Like, if you want to do comedy in Japan, there's a school you can go to.
Is it like Korea with being a K-pop band?
Exactly. It's called Yoshimoto Agency of Comedy or something. And you, like, go to this school, and then, like, you do it, and then you do their showcase, and then, like, little by little, you climb up. And then, like, if you get big enough, they might put you on like a game show. Like you remember those like game shows from the 90s, like Silent Library and shit. That's a mix of veteran comedians and newer comedians. And if you can get a big laugh on that, they'll want to keep using you. So like there's like a pathway up, which is like so Japanese to be like, you want to be a comedian? You got to go to the Harvard of comedy school. Like, and so we're used to like paths and some sort of guidance. But in America, like there's nothing like that.
God, for so many industries though.
Yeah, but that's just the way America is. This is the Wild Wild West out here for like, anything.
You got to just figure it out.
Yeah, for any entrepreneur, it doesn't have to be comedy. If you want an app, there's just no right way to do it. So like, yeah, I think it's harder for them to like really understand what I'm doing, or like if anything I'm doing is successful. Yeah. So I think in that way they don't really know how to like talk to me or like relate to me about it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also hard just as a person to like see if your feelings. You're like, oh, I did this thing, I feel successful, and then you go to a show and you're like, okay, that feels fine.
Yeah.
But then like there's certain things that I think there's definitely up and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. Also like, what's nice about doing comedy for a long time is that you learn that nothing matters. Like you can just destroy it at some important showcase or whatever, and nothing is going to happen. And I think when you're younger, you're like, I'm gonna get discovered here, and it's what every show feels like an 8 Mile moment.
Yeah.
But now, like after 10 years, I'm just like I did Jeff, and I'm like, I just went and be like, nothing is going to happen. Like, just do your best, just have fun, because nothing is going to happen. Like, this is not how you're gonna get famous.
Yeah.
Like I think it helps a little bit, but there's no like. For me personally, I've never experienced like an 8 Mile moment, or that moment where like I saw you at this thing and now we're gonna put you in this Hollywood movie. Like it's
no, it doesn't work
never
that way.
Like it's never like that.
It's like a series of like, it builds up over the time, and it's.
So it's in a way I'm more like relaxed when I do comedy now. Like maybe this is hurting me, but to me every show is practice.
Yeah.
I will always do something new in every show. Like a new tag. I'll just do it because I don't care. Because to me, just practice for the next thing,
Yeah, and that keeps it fresh.
100%. The only time I didn't do that is probably for my late night taping. But even in JFL, I did like a new tag.
Well, because for late night, they had to approve every line, right?
They did not for me, but for some shows
they're
they
like,
do.
We trust them.
There's 2 ways to book late night. It's like through your material or through you. And so if they like you send the script, but they don't give you a lot of notes. But if they like your jokes, they want a transcript, and they're like, don't say this, say it like this, say it like.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so for Colbert, this person no longer works there, but she bought into me, so she was very chill about what I did and said and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you wrote on late night for a while. Yeah.
Yes, I was there I wrote on Corden for like a year and 4 months maybe. Yeah.
You've been out in the picket lines and all.
I did a little bit, but I try to support as much as I could, but I think it's difficult because I think it's easier for like a showrunner who had previously made like millions of dollars running a show for HBO to be on the picket lines every day. But like for low level staff writers, like, we made our money, but also like I didn't work the last year, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't, I left Corden in June of 2021. So from then to whenever the strike was, like I didn't have a WGA writing job. I was doing stand up and making money doing all kinds of different things, So like I think it's a lot to ask someone at that level to be like, you have to come here every day because I have bills to pay. So like, yes, I will go support. I'll go much as I can. But at the same time, it's like, well, I need to work, not writing necessarily, but like I need to make money. So I didn't go every day. I'll perfectly admit that,
And I think that's totally fair because everyone needs to make their money. I think that's also why the strike was able to go as long as it did is because people already weren't getting paid enough for writing jobs that they all had side gigs anyways. Same with the actors.
Yeah,
And that's when they finally realized, oh, well, they're not going to budge. They're going to keep doing it, which I think it's kind of cool to have been a part of it. I'm pre-WJ, but I still went to the picket lines and like tried to support when I could.
Yeah, apparently they're supposed to like network and shit. Did you do that?
I didn't go to network. No, I think that feels slimy. Like I
think it happens naturally.
Yeah, but I don't go to a thing thinking I'm going here because I'm going to make a lot of contacts, you know.
Right.
I think I went to meet up with friends there. I ran into some people. I did meet some cool people, but it's not like I didn't go out there like with the purpose of meeting people.
Oh yeah, well there's a lot of LA pre-WJ writers who did do that, which is like whatever, it's fine. I think as long as there were bodies there, I think the WJ was happy. But that's another thing that's like very LA. You know, I have some friends who like wanted to come with me just because they were like trying to like meet people, and I was like, disgusting.
Yeah, I feel like I can like suss that out now, being in LA enough. It's like, okay, who's genuine and who's not, you know?
But to me, I think they are being genuine. Like genuinely, that's how they operate. Genuinely, they want to network and climb up the ladder, and so. I think that's what bothers me sometimes. Is like, oh, that's who you are at the core.
But that works for some people, especially like in an agency setting, like somebody working their way up the ladder, like CAA or William Morris. Like that is how they have to think.
Sure, yeah.
Because they have to like work for very little money to like the first 2 years to even like get anywhere further.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
they started the freaking mailroom for most.
Oh yeah, it's that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't think I appreciate people that have been assistants. I think that is a tough job. That is not one I think I would enjoy that path.
Yeah, the mailroom thing is crazy. I had a friend who was like used to work in private equity, went to Yale, was doing like private equity shit, making like so much fucking money, and then he wanted to do agency stuff, and so he got a job in the mailroom at WME, making like minimum wage.
Yeah,
here he is. Literally, he's making like $300,000 a year to like making like $15 an hour. Doing that. Now he works development somewhere, I think.
Okay, well, he worked his way up.
I know, but it's just crazy because I'm like, you're so capable. You went to Yale and you were PE, you're like.
But did you know that like CAA's acceptance rate is, I think, harder to get into than Harvard? Like, I think it's like 4% of people that apply actually get a job.
Because everybody wants. I know.
So that's the whole thing, and then you're like, oh, you get stuck with someone that's like a hard person to assist for.
Sure.
And then you just deal with the abuse. It is an abusive thing.
Sure, yeah. I just think like, I mean, that must be, shout out to all the people who are doing that and withstanding that. But I felt very bad for him. But he's where he wants to be now, so that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I, when I get to the point where I get to have an assistant, I'm going to be, I hope I'd be nice to them,
Yeah, but they're not. They're not. People are crazy, and that's okay.
It's a crazy world we're in. And then you've got a few things up the pipeline. You're traveling a bit, right?
Yes. I'm doing some road stuff. So if there's listeners who want to come see me do stand-up comedy, not in a bed, just go to my website, fumiabe.com. I'll be there. I'll be in Providence next week, October 6th. And then New York, November 11th. And then Chicago, October 19th. And I'm doing Irvine sometime in January, and then Dallas in March. So.
Where are you going to be in Chicago?
I'm going to do Lincoln Lodge.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I had like talked to some clubs, but I'm very like, I just feel like I always call myself like an indie comedian, because I just feel like I do a lot of it of myself. I set up a lot of shows myself. I have a team, but I do a lot of it myself because I think some of the clubs, like, they kind of fuck you with the deals, and at this point, like, I don't want to like go in the red. So like, yeah, Lincoln Lodge there's like an artist collective, so you can like rent that big room for like, I think it was something like $250 or something like that. So as long as you make $250, you get to just keep the rest. And I'm like, this is a steal. This is crazy.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of cool spaces like that are like indie run. I don't know if they get grants or like benefactors that help.
I think they are getting grants,
but
or something,
good. Like we need.
This is the way it should be.
We need weird places for people to perform regularly.
Yeah, but I've never been to Lincoln Lodge, but it's an actual comedy place, right?
Yes. Yeah. I haven't been back to Chicago in 5 years because my family lives not in Chicago.
Okay.
So I haven't traveled back lately, but I think they did get a better space for it. Yeah, it's been around a long time. I think they were around they've been around Lincoln Lodge as a collective has been around for like 14 years or something.
Okay,
a while.
Yeah.
Because there's some shows in Chicago that have been it was like a decade when I was there. You know, so some indie shows have been around a long time. Some of them moved locations and some of them got their own spaces, but just,
yeah, that's cool.
Chicago's full of a lot of weird.
I love doing it in Chicago. I love doing comedy in Chicago, so I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you do any acting, performing, or mostly stand up?
I don't do any acting. I'm trying to get better at saying that. I just feel like you're supposed to be like, yeah, I do everything, but I don't. You know?
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like acting. I don't unless somebody wrote a part for me, and I love the script. Like I'll be down, but like I'm not good at it. I don't feel super comfortable in front of the camera, anyways. Podcasting is different because I could just
you're just being yourself.
Yeah, but I just like every time I do a self tape, I'm like, this is so dumb, and like I'm not gonna get because like.
Or you're like, I could write this 10 times better.
Especially like if you're an Asian dude, like they'll just send you anything.
Oh no.
That's Asian related, and I'm not even saying that to be like, oh, they're sending me problematic roles. Like I got the role for I read for that that movie with Brad Pitt. Bullet Train?
Yeah?
Yeah, I got the role for the Japanese guy for that. And I'm like, yeah, they got the guy that was like in The Ring and Westworld because he looks like he's 45 and he's supposed to have a kid in it or whatever.
Oh.
And I'm like, why the fuck am I at the time I was like 30 when I read it. I'm like, I don't look like a dad. Like, they'll just send you anything. So I really don't like doing that. It doesn't make me feel good. It really reminds me of like when I was on the dating apps. It's what it makes me feel very bad about myself. And so I don't. Now that I've been doing comedy like a little longer, I love saying no. I love saying no to things. Like, they'll send me, hey, do you want to read for this new Jerry Seinfeld movie? No, because he's just not gonna like me. I don't care. You know.
Does that make them want you more though? They're like, come back.
I don't care. I legit don't care. That's not my goal. Is to just like do comedy for as long as I can without going into debt. And so like it doesn't involve me trying to like impress certain, casting directors. Like if they want me, they can have me, but like that's not like where my interest lies. Like I love writing, I love stand up, but like in terms of like on camera stuff, again, like I'll do it, but I'm not gonna like bend over backwards to get some stupid small roles. It's not gonna make me happy,
Yeah. That's fair. I respect that. That's good. I feel like a lot of times you do feel like, oh, you can't say no to anything in LA because then
I love saying no to everything in LA.
Want to go hiking? No.
Yeah, just say no. I love saying no. Yeah.
Well, we are starting to wind down the podcast, and I always ask people, because the sleep theme, what are your dreams for the future?
What are my dreams for the future? Oh, God. I would love to get a house in Irvine and just be a suburban dad. That's my dream.
How many kids?
I just want, like, maybe 2. As I get older, like, I love the suburban dream, man. I know, like, Irvine is, like, red or whatever, but I love a good suburb, You know when a suburb is nice when the street signs are brown. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Like in Pasadena, they're brown. You know what I'm talking about, Mr. Producer? Okay. The street signs are brown, bro. That's some nice shit. I want to live in a suburban neighborhood where the street signs are brown.
All right.
And send my kids to a good public school and then just be like a cool dad. No, I don't know. I think I just want to like, I don't really think about the future, to be honest with you, because of COVID. I think I had so many dreams and goals before COVID. And then COVID happened, and I was like, you know what? We could all just fucking die right now. So, like, I really don't set goals like that. Like, I just have, like, daily values, which is, like, am I happy?
Okay. Well,
and I just try to, like, surround myself with people who make me happy, and everything else is just, like, extra shit, I don't have, like, hardcore comedy goals anymore because, like, so many of my friends quit during the pandemic, and, like, my non-comedy friends they're like I had a friend who was, like, opening up a restaurant in New York, and it was, like, David Chang was an investor, and she was like feeding me all this food. I was like, this is an incredible. Like she was like doing like new Japanese whatever the fuck, and I was like, this is so good. This is gonna be a huge hit. And like she's not even a chef anymore, because she like lost all this money putting in down payment on the rent of the place and stuff. And I was like, you know what, you can't live life like that,
Yeah.
So I just sort of, I just try to like. Sounds so hippy dippy LA now, but. Yeah, I'm just trying to be happy, dude. Life sucks,
It's hard.
Just trying to find a reason to live.
That's why we do the gratitude journals and shit. Do you ever do that?
No.
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 I thought, when you said this is going to sound so LA, I thought you were going to be like, this is why I meditate,
No, I don't meditate or anything. I just try to, like, do one thing. I try to do one thing a day that, like, for me, you know? Whether that's just, like, watching a show I like or, like, I don't know, watching porn or something, whatever. Just for me, just to make me happy,
I think that's good. Just focus on you and your daily happiness.
Daily happiness, dude. That's what it's about. It's not even about comedy,
Yeah.
I'm just older now, dude. Turning 34 in November. What the hell is this shit? You know what I mean?
Are you starting to are you feeling weird about turning 34?
It's not weird. It's just more like you just see life. Not that I'm like some wise old guy, but like you truly just see life so differently. Like when I was in my 20s, I used to tell my girlfriend, I was like, comedy's number one, and it's family, and then it's you. I used to tell her that, but now it's like comedy's not number one, dude. It's like family and girlfriend shit first. You know, it's like life. Life is first, and then comedy is second. It makes me happy, but like I'm not going to put my life on the line for a fucking 10-minute spot at whatever the fuck club that I want to get into. I don't care. Yeah. You know. So
I'm laughing because me and my partner, the reason we work is we both say like work comes first, and then
I used to be like that, but I just changed. I just see things differently now. You know? I've just seen like a lot of my friends who are like not even in comedy, but like put everything into work, and then they're just like so unhappy. And first I thought it was because they live in New York, and New York is a very easy place to be unhappy. But I'm like, no, it's not New York. It's fucking you. It's the way you live your life. It's your goals, these unrealistic goals. Then you set yourself up for failure. And so I was like, I don't live like that, you know. I got a lot of cancer in my family and shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, just trying to live, just trying to be happy, man. Yeah.
I think that's a good goal. Just be happy, do something. I think that's also a good action. Do something just for you to be happy every day. I think people need to do that.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't work hard. Like I think working hard makes me happy too. But again, it's just like, don't like, I just try not to set up myself for failure. Yeah. You gotta set up yourself for success.
I like that.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And we always end by saying good night. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to Sleeping with Sarah, where I slept with Fumi Abe. You can follow Fumi on Instagram and TikTok, the Fumi Abe, and fumiabe.com for upcoming shows. That's FUMIABE. And he's got some upcoming shows October 5th in Providence, October 19th in Chicago, and November 11th in New York City. And please check out his podcast, Cash Cuties Podcast. If you like the podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe. Follow at Sleeping with Sarah on TikTok and YouTube, and at Sleeping with Sarah Pod on Instagram. Thanks to Josh Bryant for the music. Big shout out to Wolf Ramirez and the team at Jam in the Van. Please follow at Jam in the Van and check out their other podcasts. I'll be releasing a new podcast each week, so tune in to find out who I have in bed with me next. If you want to find out more about me, go to sleepysarah.com or follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Sarah Albritton and TikTok at Sarah Albritton Comedy. Until next time, good night.
Sleeping with Sarah.